I wanted to be at Texas State. I chose to be at Texas State. I'm from Texas. That was important to me. I always knew if the right guy got this job, you better watch out.
You better watch out. This is Win Now or Get Bent, episode 100. If you don't already know, I'm Kev Chardello, coming to you on Tuesday, July 25th, and we're in New Orleans. Check it out. I got Webb next to me. He's actually on camera. Say something, Webb.
What's up, everybody? Hello, all the sickos.
All right, man. We are live in New Orleans, Sunbelt Media Day tomorrow. Big shout out to everyone for all the support, but an extra special shout out to TGC, sponsored this entire trip. You've heard me plugging them before. The Galindo Collective, thegalindocollective.com. That's GALINDO collective.com. They're professional consultants dedicated to helping others realize their business potential through people, planning, and practice. Their service cover a wide range of areas such as business strategy, marketing, human resources, and financial planning. They offer full service solution on general business evaluations, but specialize in residential and rental properties, commercial and construction. If you own property and want to maximize its profitability, contact TGC at thegalindocollective.com. They're at TGC_LLC on Twitter. You can find them on Instagram and Facebook at the Galindo Collective. Big shout out to Rick Galindo. We're literally filming this in the hotel room that he got for us. We each have our own room. Webb's on a lower level, which is good for him. It's good for his anxiety, not as high up. So really, I know Rick did that on purpose, but really appreciate you on that one. But this is great. We're all set up here. We're ready to go. You'll be listening to this on day. We'll actually be there when you're hearing this. We're recording this one the day before, though. So by the time you're hearing this, we'll be talking with some Bobcats, getting to know GJ Kinney, all that good stuff. But Webb,
yeah, what's up, man? How's it going?
I'm great, man.
I like that we're less than a minute into the pod, and you've already thrown me literally underneath the bus, or I guess underneath the floor you're on.
That's the whole reason we have you on. Okay,
it's just to throw me. Yeah,
you're a punching bag, and I thank you very much for being here and doing it.
Fair enough, man. I'm happy to be here. Glad you decided to bring me along.
I'm surprised you lasted 8 hours in a car with me. How was that road trip?
Oh no, it was good. I mean, if you're following Kef on Twitter, you saw we got to hang out in my old stomping ground a little bit.
Yes.
Beignets State, go Pokes.
Go Pokes.
I got a little bit of pushback from the Bobcat sickos about that. I just want to say I did go to grad school at Texas State, so I am also a Bobcat. You can be two things, but also go Pokes. Yeah,
good for you, sickos. That's what I say. Get after Webb. Don't let him throw up gifs of McNeese. I put a couple pictures up, of course, of McNeese. Had to do it, but that's a former Southland foe. But I'll tell you what, man. There's good eating in Lake Charles. We ate at KD's. What is it? The Southern on hash.
KD's Southern Chicken on hash.
Man, yeah. We had a 2-hour drive after that. I needed a nap. That was amazing. I'd say so far the best meal I've had here.
I'm a little biased though. That's my probably favorite meal in the world. But it's a good thing at KD's. Everything's cheap, but nothing is described. So you just order the KD's chicken on hash, and you're surprised if you've never had it before.
That's what. Okay, so I had no idea what I was getting into. I listened to you. You said it was good. I think I can kind of remember what was on it. It's hash on the plate,
right?
Flattened.
Yep.
And you got chicken tenders. You got white gravy and sour cream and a biscuit.
Close. So no fries.
No fries.
And they're not tenders. They're little strips of grilled chicken, but they're just so good. They taste like tenders.
Yeah.
And they're buried underneath like the gravy, and there's cheese in there. But I don't know where the cheese is in the order. It's not on top. So you're eating it and you're like, whoa. In the middle of this, it's just like, it's great. I don't know. It's amazing. Shout out KD's. If you're ever in Lake Charles, please don't go to any of the big name food places. Check out KD's Diner. You can feed 4 people for like $60.
That was too long. They didn't pay us. You can't. It's 5 seconds.
They kind of did. We ate for really cheap.
That was cheap. $10 for that giant plate of food was incredible. We mailed it in last night though. We were wandering around, found a casino, and we ate. What did we eat? Bobby Flay's burgers. We got to recover very well today. That was a shameful burger. It was delicious, but you can't come to New Orleans and have a Bobby Flay's burger. We got to do better. casino, which was nice, and it was in the casino.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, we can't come to New Orleans and eat casino food. That was
And
kind
we
of a
definitely did
mistake.
last night.
We were way too excited about it too, and we got the burger and we're like, oh,
Man,
why
it
did we
was
do this?
it was delicious though. We were a few soda pops deep, so it was warranted.
Right.
But yeah, we're having a great time. But we should talk a little bit of Bobcats. What do you say, Zach? Let's do that. Very timely for us doing the pod today because the Bobcats just came out in the coaches poll. The whole coaches poll for the Sun Belt. They are 5th in the West. Overall, it's 10th. They have 36 points on a point system when the coaches vote. They got 36 points, which puts them 10th. Only teams that were ranked below the Bobcats are Arkansas State at 11, Georgia State at 12, ULM at 13, and ODU at 14. I kind of understand when I see 5th, especially when you look at the teams that are that's when it's like Troy and Southern Miss. They're talking the Western Division over here. There's a lot of unknowns with the Bobcats. Like I wanted to be mad when I saw 5th in the West, but there's just so much unknown. Brand new coach, a lot of new players. What is it, 51 transfers? We haven't heard the 51st one be announced. There's just so much unknown that I kind of understand why they put him at 5th. And then when they have that strength of schedule, 29th toughest strength of schedule in the country, I understand 5th, but I still, even though I understand it, I think the Bobcats are going to do better than 5th and 10th in the Sun Belt. There's going on. They're not going to win the Sun Belt. They're not going to win the West.
Right.
But I think they're much better than that 5th tag.
And we talked off camera a little bit earlier about this. We were chatting about specifically the strength of schedule bit. And, I personally believe that part of that, it has to do with the history of, the past few years of Texas State. The team's not that good. And when you have a football team that's not that good, any other team that's competitive is going to make your schedule a little bit more difficult. So, yeah, it's going to be a hard strength of schedule, or it's going to be a difficult season for us on paper, but we're expecting this to be a completely different team than last year. Right.
Yeah. And that's fair. Like on tough times. And that's why that strength of schedule is 29th. Like it's kind of when you're the underdog in basically every game, of course, your strength of schedule is going to be lopsided. So with that, even taking that into account, I understand why the coaches poll have them at 5th, but I don't think that's where they're going to end up. It wasn't the only thing I disliked about that. Jordan Revels was the only Texas State player named to the All Sun Belt team. I mean, when you get all these P5 transfers, we've spent all summer talking about it. All those P5 transfers they bring in, you'd think some of them would get in there, but I understand those guys haven't played, so maybe that's why they don't get on the list. But there's some other guys returning. Ashton Hawk, leading receiver from last season, that should be on there that aren't. Torrey Spears is there as well. Calvin Hill coming back from injury, although I kind of understand he was injured for, what was it, at least half the season last year, but he had that one game where he had 195 yards rushing. So I think some of these guys should have gotten some more. Ashton Hawkins is the one who stands out to me. But Jordan Revels, I'm glad he was there, going from outside linebacker to defensive end. But I think it should have been more,
Right.
And it'll be interesting to see how he does at defensive end, going from outside linebacker. I mean, he's so used to having that stand-up position, now having his hand in the dirt. It's going to be a lot of change. And a lot of what they brought in, so many defensive linemen, that I wonder where he's going to be in the rotation. I do know that they tweet a lot about him. They talk a lot about him, saying all those good things in the spring. So I think he's still like pretty secure at that defensive end spot. But you got other guys. Who's the defensive end from Boise State that came? Devin White, who's getting out there a lot. So it'll be interesting to see how that all pans out.
So you talk about that. We haven't talked about this before camera, so this might get cut. I'm throwing kept the curveball here, but
No.
How much do you read into that? The social media and who they are showing on social media. Do you think that is a coordinated effort between the marketing side and the coaches? Like, or are they just?
Oh, I do take some account. And when I'm talking about what I see on social media, not necessarily from like the Texas State football account.
Okay, yeah.
And definitely don't cut this. You don't have to cut.
Hey, yeah,
buddy.
okay, yeah, fair enough.
But not from the Texas State football account, but like from the coaches.
Right,
where they're just like leader in the locker room, certain things. You just
Gotcha.
see them pointing out specific players, not necessarily like the videos and stuff like that. I do read a little bit into those.
Okay.
But not when I'm talking I mean it from like the coaches and just the way they talk about him in the spring, as well as like a leader in the locker room and just a guy who's a lot of experience. I mean, he's started at least off and on since his freshman year. I mean, he's been a starter the last few years. So he's a guy who has a lot of experience with this program on a team with guys who have no experience with this program. So I think that carries a lot of weight. And I think that's why you see him on the coaches poll, but there's other guys that should definitely be on there. Hawkins, I feel you could talk me out of like Torrey Spears, cause all right. I understand. Ben Bell, we really liked him in the spring. And I'm just naming guys who are returning from last year.
Sure.
He looked really good in the spring, but he didn't do a ton last year. So I get it. The voters don't really know what they're talking about. But Hawkins, like, come on, man.
Right.
He was killing it before he broke his collarbone.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, maybe it'll put a little chip on his shoulder because he definitely deserves it. So
yeah.
We already know he's, bulking up. He's looking, a little bit stronger this year. He's already super fast.
Yeah. Yeah, he definitely, I mean, he's a slot receiver, so he's always been kind of smaller, but him putting on some of that weight, I think is going to pay a lot of, do a lot for like those injuries where you break your collarbone, extra cushion on stuff like that.
Right.
So I think Hawkins, especially in this offense and the way they talk about him, I think he's primed for a big year. And the fact that it seems that they play 2 slots.
Right.
We've talked about that before, where in the spring, most of their sets were two wide receivers and 2 slot guys on the inside.
Right.
And
not a lot of tight ends.
No, not a lot of tight ends. But with that setup, they love Cole Wilson, as they should.
Right.
Brett Huth, the strength and conditioning coach, he posts a lot about, all their workouts and stuff. That's somebody I need to have on the pod. I've talked about that before. He will be on this pod. Every time he posts those, you see Cole Wilson's, especially in the vertical. I mean, he's not a very tall guy, 5'7", 5'8", but he's got 40-inch vertical. I mean, he can get up there and get that ball. So I think that Cole Wilson, Ashton Hawkins duo, it's going to be great. And it's also going to open up a lot of some of those underneath routes that Hawkins thrives at. I mean, he can for sure peel the top off, but man, he can underneath. If they're focused on the guys out wide, they're focused on Cole. I think that's going to open up Ashton, but he's going to do well in this offense. He should be on that list. I'll get off my soapbox for Ashton Hawkins.
No, stay on it. Yeah.
No. Speaking of, we talked about Ben Bell. Speaking of the Bell brothers, getting a tryout for the Seahawks and the Cleveland Browns first, and now the Seahawks. Oh, no, I have that. No, wait, that's right. Did the Cleveland Browns last week. Now he's got one for the Seahawks at outside linebacker. A lot of you remember defensive lineman at Texas State. Then he did that workout it was actually he was invited to the Ravens as a fullback, a position he didn't play at all at Texas State, or if he did, it was a few sets towards the end of the year. He actually might have gotten in there at fullback. But now he's back to defense, outside linebacker, because he went to the Michigan Panthers of the USFL. Did really good things, honestly. Got a few sacks and stuff. I'm back getting another shot. I hope he gets one.
Yeah, hopefully he gets another shot. Hopefully we can get him back on the pod, talk about that process and his journey this summer.
Yeah, that's a lot. I mean, that all that hope, and then the hopes get taken away. You get tryouts and stuff. I'm sure that's a lot, but he seems like a really mentally strong guy. Pro day. Were you at pro day? You weren't at pro day.
I didn't go to pro day. I think it was on a Thursday. Yeah.
That was in the right before spring practice and all that. That's all the stuff you were at out there. So we didn't get to run into him. I know we ran into Ben.
Yeah,
I got to talk to Ben Bell for sure, but Levi's still trying, man. Hopefully he gets out there. So Ethan Ferris coming to the Bobcats, switching to baseball a little bit. Big time slugger, 6'5" slugger, 6A slugger of the year, I should say. He was drafted in the 18th round by the Detroit Tigers. He has decided to not go to the pros, come to the Bobcats. A little bit about that decision until July 25 to decide. Prospects such as him, which is literally when the pod's coming out. So he decided to announce before that he's coming to Texas State. If by going to Texas State, now he can't re-enter the draft for 3 years.
Right.
That's how it goes. You can either become a prospect, go to the minor league system straight up, or you have to wait 3 years. So now Bobcats have him for about 3 years unless he transfers out, transfer portal era.
Yeah, hopefully not. It's not as baseball isn't as crazy with the transfer portal. It happens, but definitely not like football. It's big. That's huge to pass up a MLB offer. Obviously, it's going to be minor leagues to start with, but He's a really talented high school prospect, and to have people like that or players like that skipping the MLB to come here says something about our program, I would say, right?
I think so, for sure. And we've seen it happen before with some of these guys, and they've ended up having really good careers and then getting drafted higher later on. So I think anticipating something higher than the 18th
Sure.
round, because I don't know what that signing bonus is that they offered
but-
him, but it probably wasn't enough to forego. I know that Javi Torres, another commit for the Bobcats, pitcher out of Judson, he did accept a deal. He wasn't drafted, but he accepted a deal. I heard it was $150K, allegedly. Not exactly sure about that. But he accepted a deal with the Guardians, so he won't be coming to the Bobcats. So that's kind of the inverse of that, is now he goes off to the minors.
Right.
I know there's a roundabout way where he could still play college. I don't think he could play baseball, but I've seen guys
Really?
like come back and play football and
Yeah.
stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Like Brad George comes to mind for the Bobcats, former quarterback. But that's if, you know, he'd have to like switch sports. But otherwise, yeah, he's off and gone. It's a big loss for the Bobcats. Pretty good pitcher down there
Yeah.
in San Antonio, but
And we need pitching. That was one
Yeah.
of the issues last year. So
but they get one bat and then they lose a pitcher, lose an arm, gain a bat. That's a
Right.
pretty big bat they're getting to, though.
Right.
Ethan Ferris.
Yeah.
I know that those around the program are pretty excited about what he can bring to the Bobcats.
absolutely. I think it was Ethan the player that we got tipped off at after a spring game.
I can't.
I think so. I think we got tipped off.
Was that our guy,
this-
Baseball Nut?
Yeah, I think
Heck
we
yeah!
talked
Shout out
about
Baseball
this.
Nut.
Yeah, a really big prospect might be coming in that they're really hoping. So I think it was Ethan, because I remember him being a real big guy.
Yeah,
6'7" big for a baseball player.
yeah. I think he's
Yeah.
6'5". I can't say for sure. I haven't
Still,
seen him in
6'5" is
person.
huge. I
Big
mean,
big guy, no doubt. Gives me like Aaron Judge, Mike Trout vibes.
Let's hope,
you know,
yeah.
when you hear that.
Shohei.
That's probably like how tall is Shohei?
Shohei's like 6'5", 6'7".
No way.
Shohei's humongous.
Wow.
I can't. Don't get me on a
No.
Shohei thing, because I'm an Astros fan and my buddies will just destroy me. But I love Shohei. Yeah.
Astros.
Oh, cut. Yeah.
No,
that's-
don't cut.
We're doing all
Keep
right.
it
We're doing all right.
rolling.
I mean, the Rangers are in first place right now. We're gonna catch them.
Okay.
Give us a few weeks. Jose should be coming back. We should have Jordan back. That doesn't mean that you're not a big baseball guy. I'm gonna out you on the pod right now. So.
I am not a big MLB. When the playoffs hit, I am invested.
Yeah.
If I can get a ticket to a game, my brother lives right by Minute Maid, so I'll go check out the Stros. When I was in high school, $5 bleacher seats for the Rangers was like our staple of the weekend.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really. I love baseball, but I have to enjoy it live, or there has
Yeah.
to be stakes of playoffs for me to enjoy it on TV.
That's fair. I think
Or Texas State.
even the craziest MLB baseball fans aren't watching 162 games a year.
It's a lot of games.
It's a lot.
of games.
Yeah.
What
what
do you
Twitter's
think?
for.
What do while I got you here, Mr. Seamhead, what do you the clock?
Pitch clock.
Pitch clock.
Man, it's amazing. So when I heard about it at first, I didn't like the idea. I thought it was going to ruin the game. I mean, there are some arguments you could say could cause pitchers some injuries, right? Because they're kind of speeding up that tempo. But as a fan going to the games, the ability to go to a game that's only about, maybe 2.5 hours long instead of like 3.5 hour long game, it's a better experience. There's not a lot of hanging around, waiting on a pitcher to decide to pitch instead of 20, 30 pickoffs, it feels like sometimes.
Yeah.
So it's been really good. Been to a couple games this year, and the experience overall, I think, is just better baseball.
So even you don't think it's less time to drink at the games?
Well, that's a thing. Do you know if it's a game? Usually in baseball, or back in the day, there's a 7th inning cutoff. And that was a problem early this year. And a lot of the owners of baseball were losing out on revenue, alcohol sales, because there's less time to buy alcohol.
Can't have that.
And so maybe to the detriment of public safety, they got rid of the 7th inning thing. So you can buy
Wow.
alcohol from the 1st inning all the way to the 9th. You can grab a beer right before the game ends, chug it, and go home.
Yeah. We'd sneak it out with you.
I don't know.
Find
man.
a way.
Yeah.
They're not checking
Yeah.
out.
That's not the greatest thing in the world, but
They're checking you when you walk in. Not too hard when you're going out. I've walked out with some cups
they
before.
just want you to get out at that point,
Spurs game for sure. It's because I had a this one wasn't even full of beer, but it was a nice souvenir cup full of soda.
right? Yeah.
So I was like, perfect.
You're the public's problem at that point.
Yeah,
You know?
right, yeah, with my soda. It
Yeah,
wasn't-
your soda,
it was
yeah.
legit a soda. I'd say if it was beer. It was-
Sure.
I've walked out with beers, I'm sure.
Yeah.
If I'm at that point, I don't remember though. So
Oh, jeez.
hey man, speaking of not remembering, we're in New Orleans. What are we doing today?
We are. So today we start out the day with some beignets, as one should. Found 2 Cafe du Monde. Didn't know that was a thing. There's a bunch of them everywhere. Went to the original. Got some beignets, a little bit of coffee. I think we have some plans after this. After I get editing, maybe go find some real NOLA food.
Yes, that is number one. What we have to do. Nicolas Cage's tomb, R.I.P. Even though he's not dead, he's just already built himself a tomb. He's built a tomb in New Orleans that I would really love to see. That I would like to do that. Although anything else we do, I just need food, that tomb, and then I'm ready for Bob.
That pre-RIP though.
Yeah, you know, I just wanted to be the first one on it. That's just,
I think you probably
you
were.
know,
Yeah.
I'm a big Nick Cage fan, and I just want him. I want him to know that.
Yeah, I'm down to go. We talked about this before we took the trip. Down to go.
Yeah.
My only condition is I want you in the full Pulp Fiction. You know, the jeans.
The wrong movie, buddy.
Oh, is it? Okay.
You're thinking Con Air.
There you go, Con Air.
He's
I'm
not in
sorry.
Pulp Fiction.
Yeah. Okay. My bad.
We gotta get
Yeah.
you. We gotta get you to some DVDs, man. I got some movies for you.
It's bad. Action films I don't know anything about.
I know too much about them. I love them very much. Con Air is great for sure. It's probably why I grew my
There you
Cage with that look. So no, I don't have a wife beater though. That's what he wears.
Oh, we can find one.
No,
Hey, we're in
I'm
NOLA.
not doing a wife.
They sell them
beater.
everywhere.
I'm not doing that.
Fair
No
enough.
way. I don't have the body type for a wife beater. That's what
yeah.
I should say.
There's got to be a better name for that now.
No,
I don't really want to get in there. We got to
Yeah,
rename
right?
that. Yeah.
white undershirt.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
That is a bad one. You know, something else I've heard is rule of thumb. Apparently that goes back to
Yeah. It's not good. Rule of thumb's not
the
great.
size of your thumb is
Yeah.
the switch you could use on your wife.
Yeah.
So
Not
that's why I
great.
say rule of thumb.
Yeah. I don't even know what does rule of thumb mean?
You know, it's a good rule to live by is what people say.
Oh, jeez.
You know, so like it's the rule of thumb. And
Oh.
I guess like 100 years ago it meant
Yeah.
the thickness of a switch that you
Not great.
you can't hit her with the switch thicker than your thumb.
Not
So,
great.
you know, language. It's a funny thing. It's a funny thing. Now, I'm not gonna do the wife beater, but I will eat some good food.
Yeah.
I have no idea where to go, but we're gonna wander around. We're gonna figure it out. We saw like Julia Street.
Right.
What's that bar and grill?
There's a lot of food in the French Quarter we passed up that we could go back there.
Is this a safe space? Can I be honest about something? Love the Cafe du Monde coffee.
Yeah, I don't think that's a crazy
Cafe
take.
du Monde. I think I said Coffee du Monde.
Yeah, I don't think that's a crazy take. Mine wasn't amazing
It
either.
was a little burnt.
Yeah, I think that's just
yeah.
that's just like the New Orleans kind of coffee thing. It's
Really?
a little bit
Maybe
more.
I should get.
yeah.
I just gotta adapt to it. You know.
yeah.
Yeah, they said I get it black. So
Well, that's what I did.
yeah,
Not that much better.
That oh really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Beignets though, delicious. It's amazing. That's a great. It doesn't bog you down like a donut. You know, or you eat a donut and you're like, oh, all right, I need a nap. Like,
Right.
I've always felt donuts not a great breakfast meal. I feel like you have that, some coffee, ready to go.
Yeah. No doubt. No doubt.
I'm
I
ready
was
for.
gonna say.
I'm also ready for media day too, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be exciting. My first media day. Not really sure what's gonna happen. I know that I have the schedule, but you know, just the whole vibe of it. I'm really excited about seeing not only Texas State players and coaches,
Yeah.
but hearing from the whole Sun Belt. So
Yeah, because I didn't even get into the rest of the coaches poll where you have like Grayson McCall, Player of the Year. I'm forgetting his name. The Old Dominion linebacker at Defensive Player of the Year. I'm sure he'll be there. Henderson, I know is his last name. Be good to see some of those players, hear from them, hear from some of these coaches. You know, Coastal's got a new coach. There's a few other new coaches. Of course, Texas State is a new coach, but
of course,
we know GJ Kinney well at this point.
Yeah.
It'll be good to catch up with them and catch up with Torrey Spears and Nash Jones. But I'm excited about what you were saying. Just hearing from everybody else, hearing from the rest of the Sun Belt, how they're feeling, how their recruiting classes went. Because you can read what you want on 247,
right?
but as we've known, you've read about the Bobcats on 247, and sometimes they're off, or 247 on 3 rivals. Any of these. It exactly right, and you can really get a good idea of how they are handling their recruiting strategy. Because I feel like recruiting across the board, that's the lifeline of any program.
Right.
So I always want to hear about how that's doing.
Yeah.
So I'm anticipating that very much, getting to know some of them.
You have your questions ready? Are you prepped for?
You know, I have a couple I've thought of. I don't really, before press conferences and stuff, I don't really pre-write questions.
Okay.
Because I'll have like my first one in mind, and then I try to base my next ones off that answer.
Sure.
I try to do more follow-up than
Yeah.
anything. And sometimes this was a good thing, was he would answer your follow-up with his long answer.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and it would just be like, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
You know, GJ is a little more, you got to pull it out of him a little bit.
Right.
That's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
But once you get him on the right topic, man, he'll spend 2 minutes on it. Like when he was talking about Lindsey Scott Jr. on the pod.
Yeah.
So no, I don't have them pre-prepped. But I'll think of some good ones for them just to like have in the back of my head. Because
sure.
also if you're reading the questions, it's
right.
You know, if it feels scripted and
Right.
everything. It's like even with the pod, you know, take a few notes, but I'm not sitting here reading it, or else
Sure.
it just, you know.
For sure. So we get to talk to G-Day again tomorrow,
Mhm.
and then we also get to talk to a couple Texas State players as well, right?
Right, yeah. Nash Jones, offensive lineman, Incarnate Word transfer, and then Torrey Spears, safety. You know, Torrey Spears, Iowa State transfer, big old 6'4" safety. We'll get to talk with them. We're going to feature all three on the.
Right.
We're going to do our exclusive videos. We get 10 minutes with each, I believe, or 20 minutes in total, something like that. But we'll make sure we load that up here, and we'll have some other stuff for you as well, of course. I mean, who knows? Maybe we can run into some other media people there and get some nice interviews.
Okay.
I know I'm trying to start that red. Our old buddy A State Fan Rules is going to be there at the Fun Belt podcast. We listen to them. Shout out to them. He's going to be there, so I'm going to hit him with the Wolves down.
Okay,
that's
all right. Is that a penalty in the Sun Belt?
I don't know, but you know, Arkansas State doesn't have that kind of pull.
Right.
Okay?
Right. Yeah.
Because they're like, look at our waterfall.
Right.
It's not enough.
It's a nice waterfall.
See, I'm just it's nice actually.
I like that waterfall.
Like
Shout out, yeah.
Shout out Damphus because he talked about it. He's part of that project. So you're welcome. That's what.
Well, and also thank you for KDAMP. You know.
Yeah, thanks for KDAMP.
Big thank you there.
We do like KDAMP. No, I especially, you know, I could even stir it up now. Texas State 10th in the Sun Belt coaches poll. Arkansas State 11th. So
right,
33 points compared to the Bobcats 36.
For you, Kev, you may have already said this earlier. Too high, too low. How do you feel about that?
For the Bobcats?
Yeah.
I think, you know, because I kind of want to, while I'm talking, I want to pull up the teams that are above them. Because I understand why they are where they are, why they're at 5th, just because of all the unknowns that I was talking about earlier. And there's also, the West is pretty thick in the East, but I think the West has the strongest, more fuller conference, if that makes sense.
Right.
You know, like App State and JMU are in the East, and they're pretty dang good. Coastal, of course, as well.
Right.
But here we go. I got it here. In the West Division, Bobcats are 5th. Southern Louisiana is 3rd. Sorry about that.
Boo.
He hates when you say Louisiana. Apparently, they have a lot of beef with me state.
You mean
Louisiana Lafayette?
Lafayette, yeah, ULL, yeah.
But they're at number 3. South Alabama's at 2, and Troy is number 1. Troy, the homecoming opponent, is predicted to top of the West Division. I know you feel a certain type.
We should ask. That's what we should ask GJ. Is who's in charge of that, and why do we do that?
Why Troy?
Why?
Maybe he's confident.
We were there homecoming last year, which feels like that doesn't happen a lot.
Right.
You would switch up because usually you want to win homecoming, right?
Right.
Give yourself the best chance.
Schedule right here. They're at home against South Alabama, Arkansas State, I'm sorry, the asterisk isn't home. That's just conference. It doesn't say which one's won on this, which one are home games on this one that I'm looking at here. But there has to be something else besides
what
one.
Looking back, so I have a tweet out here. Last year, Troy beat us 17-14. So
wow.
It was close.
Yeah.
So maybe there's a little bit of confidence. New regime in town. Troy's the big dog.
Hey, let's start that rivalry.
Throw them on the homecoming game.
I'm trying hard to get the Bobcats a Sun Belt rival.
Yeah.
whoever they can get it from.
ULL.
That's
Let's
why I
do
was
it.
like, they don't have to play App State or JMU this year, which is nice. Two pretty good teams. But after beating App State last year, I was get the momentum of that one going again this year. They
Yeah.
don't have them on the schedule at all.
Yeah.
It's probably for the better. Even though we were talking about strength of schedule, and I was talking about no App State, no JMU, and 3 of their conference opponents are teams that are ranked below them in the coaches poll, with Arkansas State, Georgia State, ULM. So seemingly on the surface level, those should be some wins.
Right.
Conference wins. You got Jackson State, you can beat them. Nevada, you can beat them. UTSA, you can beat them.
Opportunities, yeah.
Opportunities. But if you get those 3 conference wins and you get 3 in non-conference,
Right.
that's 6. That's a bowl game.
Yeah,
right
going
there.
bowling.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, even though we talk about, and you brought up the great point that when you're down bad, your strength of schedule is always going to be tough. The opponent
Right.
is always going to be a little stronger than you. But that being said, with those 3 opponents in conference, just some stuff they can. I still think it can be a really good season for this team.
Yeah, I think so.
Or in fall camp. I mean,
Yeah.
Once we get to look at these quarterbacks, we won't wade too much in the quarterbacks. We'll save that for fall camp. But
Right.
once we get a good look at that and see who's running the offense, who they're going with, or what the situation is there,
Right.
I'll be more confident in giving an idea of how I think they'll finish.
Yeah. Are we going to do a schedule breakdown after the fall of, where Kef thinks schedule prediction? We'll go game by game. I know they want it. I've seen the tweets.
You're setting me up for ridicule on
Yes.
social media.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
That's what you're doing.
Well,
huh?
let's
That's
remember
okay.
how this pod started.
Yeah. How did it start?
You said I was afraid of being on the 3rd floor.
This pod
Yeah.
today. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
He's not afraid of the
Yeah.
floor. Yeah, that is. I thought you meant the pod in general. I was like, how did I start it?
Oh.
2.5 years ago. I don't even remember. But yeah,
Right,
no, this episode I did throw you under the bus. Now let's ridicule me. Yeah, I'll definitely do some predictions. They will undoubtedly,
Of course.
as they always are.
Yeah.
That's the best part about sports is they're unpredictable.
Yeah.
A lot of people like myself with podcasts like to try and predict things, but
We could start off the year and, surprise Baylor. And then everything
man.
changes.
I'm telling you know what? The Wizard and I yesterday, we were in a casino. And in this casino, they have sports betting, which
Yeah.
I'm not accustomed to.
Right.
I'm not around it a lot. And we're up there, we're thumbing on this machine, checking it out. And you could do the Bobcats over Baylor money line. $100 would net us like 1,700, I think.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. We didn't do it. We
It's
didn't do it.
tempting. Who
We have
knows?
our integrity in place.
I may have another chance tonight.
Ugh.
A few more Patreon subscribers than we will.
No, we're not. Okay. I just like to look directly in camera. We're not gambling with that money. We will never gamble with that money. Kev, come on, man.
He said we, didn't say me. No, we're definitely not. To Landon Lynch, though, that guy hit my Venmo. Really appreciate that. I got to buy you some drinks from that, by the way.
Okay,
Don't
all right.
forget that.
Fair enough,
Thank
yeah.
you. Thank you, Landon Lynch, for that. Honestly, all you sickos out there's a good chunk of y'all on the Patreon now. See you subscribing on the YouTube channel at Win Now or at Get Bent on YouTube. Merch on WNOGB.com. The great merch. We're both wearing it. Show off the shirt, Zach. Oh, my hair's in the way. It's this microphone. It's hard to hold it and do this. If you're not seeing this because you're hearing it.
There's a rumor there might be more merch soon.
Ooh, man. It's
Out in the-
we are waiting for test orders to come in. The product is.
you can. It's on the Discord.
Is it? Oh yeah, I guess so.
Yeah,
If
it's on.
you're-
It's on the Discord.
Yeah, we've actually, we posted pictures of what we're looking at. We're looking at some hats, and they're gonna be great. I wish I was wearing one right now.
Embroidered. We're doing it the right way.
Yeah, that's why that's why we've taken our time with hats. We had to find the vendor, the right way to do it. You have to give them the logo has to be specific to the thread count. So we had to get someone to really construct us something good. We even had to come up with an alternate logo.
Oh.
You know,
Okay.
We won't.
It might be here or there right now.
In one of the
We'll
corners.
see.
If you're
Yeah.
watching on the YouTube channel, you can check out. We're gonna start slapping that on some stuff. Of course, the OG logo is not going anywhere. That's the OG
Right.
one. But we just needed something that you could see. It's a lot of colors. It's a lot going on. It almost got a little squished. So it's just something a little cleaner on a hat. And you'll have lots of varieties, lots of options, lots of cool stuff. So there you go. Nice long plug.
Excited, yeah.
We'll get
Excited.
those hats going. But check us on Patreon if you haven't already. Patreon.com/win now or get bent. Apple, Spotify. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, create accounts for your friends and loved ones, and just up those numbers for us so that we can stuff like coming out here. Big shout out again to TGC. I can't thank them enough. Cannot thank Rick Galindo enough. True sicko out there. Business consulting. Make sure you hit them up with any of your business consulting needs. Really helps you out, especially with property. If you have a piece of property that you're trying to sell or Airbnb or what have you, I mean, he can really help you with that. But he also generalizes in other business practices as well. Even helped me talking about stuff for the pod, helping us grow in more ways than just funding us with stuff. He's given us some really crucial advice. So thank you to Rick Galindo for making this possible. Thank you to Zach Webb
Always a pleasure, man.
in the pod.
Yes, sir.
Man, all right, all right. Well, we don't have an interview. We don't have anybody we're cutting it to. We're going to keep this a nice short episode because me and Zach over here, we got to go hit the town out here. But thanks for tuning in. Win now or get bent.